What is up YouTube, KM888 here, and today I'm going to do the combo video for the ZEXAL build that I've showed you guys yesterday. Now, in all honesty, I'm going to do this fresh. I'm going to shuffle up, I'm going to do the combo while you guys are watching. I'm just gonna do it from the first time, I hope. Not going to cheat or whatever, so yeah. I'm sorry that the field is so far away. I don't know if this is a good setup, but it's the only way that you guys can see the entire field from up there. Oh my god, I'm terrible at shuffling when everything is upside down. Haven't tried this before, but hey, let's do it. Shuffling 51 cards isn't that big of a deal. But anyways, if you want to see the deck profile from this deck, I will link it down in the description, and yeah, we can go from there. So the deck has been shuffled. Let's see what we get. So for the hand, I'm going to open with Allure, Pot of Desires, Supreme King Gate 0, Kepler, and another Allure. Now, as you guys can see, I do not have opened up with a starter, which is kind of problematic for the combo, but let's see what we'll get. First of all, we're going to Allure, just in case we draw a starter. At this point we haven't, but we've got the Magical Abductor, which is actually kind of fine. We are going to banish the Supreme King Gate 0. I'm probably going to get another one during the combo, so I'm going to banish it. And send the Allure to the graveyard. At this point I'm going to scale the Magical Abductor, which is going to get us our starter, I hope. It should do the trick, so yeah. Allure of Darkness, getting 2 more draws, not the best ones, but we're going to banish the Black Fang, and we're going to get our first counter on the Abductor, so that's that. At this point, Allure is going to go to the graveyard. This is a banish, of course, and we're going to go with Pot of Desires. It's our... we're going to go with the gate, of course, first. It will give us a second counter, and we can fetch ourselves our Thomas already. It's pretty important to get that Thomas. Wasn't in the first one off. There we go. We probably wouldn't have banished it, but you'll never know, of course. Don't make the mistake to activate the Desires first. I mean, that would be pretty terrible, but hey. At this point, go with Desires, banish 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and draw 2. A Jackal King and another Allure, but we get a third counter. As you guys can see, still no starter, but hey, it's not all bad, true. We only have banished 1 of the rank up magics, so we don't really care. We did banish 2 chronographs, which is terrible. But for the rest, I do not think anything of importance, and we can definitely do the combo. So at this point, you're going to use the Abductor's effect, and you're going to search yourself your starter. Oh, searching upside down is terrible. I do think that at this point you can't go for the mythical beast because you have the Abductor in scale. You only have 1 chronograph to your in your deck left, and we banish a Time Gazer, so that's not an option. So we have to go for the Curtain Raiser. But as I said, it's not a problem at all. Put the Curtain Raiser in scale, you get another counter, which really doesn't matter anymore. Oh, here it is. Special summon it. At this point, normal summon the Kepler. I do think we can use the effect. We should be able to, yeah. We're going to use the Kepler's effect. We're going to get another gate. We don't mind because it's an additional plus. It can serve as a discard for the Nightmares, it can serve as a pop for the Electromites, so yeah, why not? At this point, I'm going to use those electromites. I'm going to put one in the scale, in the extra monster zone. I don't think... Yeah, you can just see it. It'll trigger and you'll send the chronograph. At this point, I am first going to use the Thomas, and I'm going to use its effects to get back the Kepler. Then I'm going to use the Allure of Darkness, drawing 2 more cards, and banishing that set Kepler, because, well, you don't need the Kepler anymore. I'm going to check the pile of desires one more time, which is amazing. At this point you're going to use the electromites, you're going to pop the Thomas. The 3 cards you actually want to pop are already on the field, so that's amazing. So you're going to pop the Thomas, get back the chronograph, chainlink 1 the electromite, chainlink 2 the chronograph. So you're going to special the chronograph along with the Dark Worm, and then you draw from the electromite another monster, which is pretty great because we can summon it. At this point the Dark Worm will trigger, and we can search ourselves the gate, the 0. It's just as I said, it's like the thing that you'll always end up with. Pretty good. Make the second electromite. Oh, that's the deck. Stuff is if it's the other way around. Doesn't matter where you put it. Electromite's effect, and you're going to send the Bumbuku at this point. Bumbuku is necessary because you're going to want to use it for the combo. At this point, electromite's effect, pop the gate. You don't really care about it anymore. Oh, the Thomas had to go here as well. So hard when it's the other way around. You're getting back the chronograph, and you're going to trigger it. So you special summon it together with anything you can miss. So like the abductor is a good option here. And then you can just make the 3rd electromite once again. We can look in our extra deck. I do not think we have the option to get a full rescue hamster off, because we've banished a lot of the stuff that we could have, and yeah, I don't think it's going to be viable. So I don't think we actually have to use... We don't really need to use the electromite here, but we're still going to just for the heck of it. So I'm going to send a purple poison magician. At this point I'm going to use its effect. I'm going to pop that abductor. I'm going to get back anything that I want in probably just a high scale. I mean, the heck with it, right? These 2 are also going to go here. Oh my god. They're not in the graveyard, of course. So I'm going to get back... Well, normally I could say that I'm going to pick the chronograph, and then I have the time gazer in my deck to special summon later, but I've banished it with the desire, so I can't go for the chronograph. But it's still a really viable option. In times like this, I do like to go into Thomas if I have the Kepler in my extra deck, but I don't, so it doesn't really matter. Just any high scale would do, I think, so I'm just gonna go for the chrono. Scale the chrono, scale the 0. You're gonna make the firewall in the middle. And next up you're going to Pendulum summon. So Pendulum the Bumbuku, and Pendulum any 2 level 4s from your extra deck. I always like to go with the Supreme King Dragon Dark Worm because it'll end up in the grave. And any other one, I mean, just necessity for later on. And Pendulum summon 1 random thing from your hand. I like to go for the Jackal King right here because it's a high level, and else it might not get to the field anymore. The Bumbuku will trigger, and you'll get to search your other Bumbuku, which is great, because you want that. At this point, overlay into the Utopia. And now you'll link away the Utopia with the Jackal King, which might seem weird, but don't worry, you'll get it back. And you're gonna go into the Nightmare Goblin. At this point I like to trigger my Nightmare Goblin because you can get rid of the dead spells in your hand, the Gate and the Desires. I don't know if you can see it good, but oh well. And you're going to trigger the Firewall as well, so chainlink 1 Firewall, chainlink 2 Nightmare Goblin, so you can see what you'll draw. So I'm going to ditch the Gate, I'm going to draw the Cerberus, which is actually kind of fine. And then with the Firewall, I'm going to special summon. So I'll special summon the Cerberus. With the additional normal summon, I'm going to summon the Bumbuku. At this point, you can overlay the double Bumbuku. And you'll go into the Rebarian Shark. The Rebarian Shark's effect actually states that you don't have to detach, but what happens is you take one of your materials and you put it under a number monster from your graveyard. So you can special summon the Utopia back because it has been properly summoned. So you just summon it back. And at this point you can go with the... you can end on two things. You can keep the Electromite or you can keep the Nightmare Goblin. I like the Electromite for next turn, so I'm just going to link away the Cerberus, I'm going to link away the Rebarian Shark, and I'm going to link away the Goblin. And I'm gonna make Nightmare Griffin. At this point, rearrange your chain links any way you want. So you're going to do Nightmare Griffin first, and you're going to discard as a cost. I like to discard, well, it doesn't really matter, like discard the Death's Curtain Raiser, it doesn't really matter right here. And you're going to target one of the spells in your graveyard. You already have the desires for next turn, so maybe like Allure of Darkness, it's a good card. So you target the Allure, and then you chain the Rebarian Shark from your graveyard. So Rebarian Shark's effect goes off first, and you can search out the Astral Force and put it on top of your deck. So you put it on top, then the Griffin's effect resolves, setting the Allure, and you draw into the rank up magic, which you'll discard to rank up your Utopia monster into ZEXAL, which I like to summon either in the zone on top, above the Griffin, or right next to the Griffin, because, well, if the Griffin is gone, you can still use this effect, but if they kill the Firewall in a way, you can't use your ZEXAL anymore. So you actually make a little block, so they can't do a thing against this field. So this is the ending board of the first hand we actually tried. It's really stupid. The deck might be 51 cards, but there's like a 95% chance you have it, which is pretty good. Your hand is still the one desires for next turn. You can actually use that next turn. You still have the Allure for next turn. It's a pretty decent field. Now you might think, what happens when I go into in the opponent's draw phase? You'll use the ZEXAL effect to bounce you to detach the Utopia. Always detach the Utopia unless you have some other plans, because if they can't get rid of the field, you can use the Firewall to bounce the Utopia back, and then you can still go into the Lightning, which is also a really good play. But if you use the effect and they have something like Impermanence or a Sky Striker Mecha Widow Anchor, and they chain it to the ZEXAL, you can use the Firewall's effect to bounce the ZEXAL back to your extra deck. So your effect is safe and you still go through, and they can't do anything for a turn, and you still have your full scales, you have your Electromite, you have a full extra deck. I mean, you can go for everything and anything you want which is left, and I mean, you still have some really good cards for going second left. You have the Phoenix, you have the Unicorn, you can destroy something, you can bounce something, you can send something with an Ingirsu, you have two really good attackers, and then you still have the Saryuja because you didn't need it for the combo right here. So yeah, that's it for the combo video. It took like almost 15 minutes, I know, but that's how Pendulum works. And if you do this combo, you win game 1. You'll just, even if you're going to lose game 2, just stall it out as long as you can, and then you go into game 3 and you make a cowboy for game, and that's easy wins, right? So yeah. That's it for the combo. I hope you guys liked it. If you have any other questions about it, just hit me up in the comment section below. And that's about it. Ciao!